بس بقول لك أول مرة نشوف الصاروخ زي هيك والشظايا هذه، فبقول لك تبع جهاد صواريخ الجهاد الإسلامي يعني.
ايه؟
كانوا بيقولوا تعاون الجهاد الإسلامي.
من علم هذا؟
شكله من علم
Video from security cameras outside of the Gaza Strip supports the IDF claim. You see a barrage of rockets heading in the direction of Israel, and then an explosion in the foreground. That is the Al-Ahli hospital where the explosion took place, and it really seems to support the idea of a rocket that got off course and hit a target inside of the Gaza Strip, which has happened dozens of times with these homemade rockets or makeshift rockets that the Palestinians fire in the direction of Israel. Yesterday, the Palestinian Health Ministry said the number of casualties would be in the hundreds. Today, no final number as far as casualties from this particular strike. Martha?
Okay, Mike, thank you very much, Mike Tobin. Let's go live now to Tel Aviv with Major Doron Spielman, a spokesperson for the Israeli Defense Forces. Major, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Why do you think it is that when you look at these protests that are going on around the world, that people appear to want to believe the original narrative, which is that this came from Israel, in spite of the fact that the intelligence is stacked in the other direction? A lot of people don't seem to be too interested in hearing the facts of the case.
Well, I think, first of all, thank you for that question. I think it's an excellent question. And I think we've seen this before. Again, when you have a narrative that is put forth by a terrorist regime, one that has no scruples whatsoever about lying, such as Hamas, oftentimes that is resting on fertile ground of other people that share common beliefs. In this case, within a minute of that blast taking place, the blast that we have proven clearly was not by Israel, it was by Islamic Jihad. Within a minute, Hamas immediately blamed Israel. Now, anybody who understands anything, you don't even have to be a bomb expert, can understand, you cannot determine the source of a blast within a minute. Hamas immediately launched that, and unfortunately, as my colleague, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner explained, many media outlets ran with that right away. The title was, Hamas says that Israel bombed a hospital. Now the question is, who is Hamas? Hamas is a murderous regime that crossed over Israeli territory, killed well over 1,000 people, raped and maimed men, women, and children, brought them back as hostages to Gaza, and they are the source. When you have something like this, it finds fertile ground against those who share those beliefs. And what we can see
Only
is
fucking idiots
not
believe
surprising. In certain Arab capitals throughout the world, they associate themselves with Hamas, with that same radicalism. And I think that really shows why our fight against Hamas is not only a threat to Israel. Hamas is a threat to America, to anywhere in the world where democracy reigns, where there are Muslim fanatics that believe in that type of ideology.
Well, when you look at how inflamed people have become over this and keep repeating the original story that everyone sort of clung to, that this came from Israel, does it have any impact on IDF's plan? Because we are now 11 days in, we have not seen a ground invasion in Gaza. Is there a rethinking of how this should be approached?
Well, I think that we've seen this before. This really is not a surprise. This comes right out of Hamas's playbook, which is very similar to the ISIS playbook, which rests on a few principles. First of all, they carry out a massacre or an attack, in this case, a truly bloody, murderous attack on Israeli civilians. They then run back into Gaza and hide underneath civilians. We inevitably, like any country, look for them. We declare war on them. We hunt them down. And as we do, they put civilians in the line of fire. When a civilian is killed, and in this case, they weren't killed by Israel, they then claim human rights violations, trying to get international sympathy. When that happens, they go back underneath the ground and rebuild. So we're not surprised by this. We are going to move forward with our mission, which is destroying Hamas. We're not going to be deterred. We stick to the truth. We know the truth. We have the moral high ground here. We understand the truth. And if there are people in the world that don't accept that, what can you do?
All right, Doron Spielman, thank you very much, sir. We'll hope you can keep in touch, and we look forward to talking to you as we look at the scene in Beirut outside the embassy. Enormous